Okay. So have you ever, been in a situation where you really wanted to join a conversation in English, but just felt totally held back by your language skills?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Like maybe you froze up ordering food at a restaurant or just couldn't find the right words in a meeting.
It's the worst.
We've all been there.
Totally.
And that's exactly why we're diving into this podcast script today.
Yeah, what's the script all about?
Well, it's about uncovering the best ways to learn English.
Oh.
To finally break free from those frustrating language barriers.
I love it.
You know what I find interesting about this script?
What's that?
It really challenges the traditional approach to learning English.
You mean like just hitting the textbooks and memorizing grammar rules?
Exactly.
That can get old fast?
I'm thinking like those endless verb conjugation charts.
Don't even get me started.
I can already feel my brain shutting down just thinking about them.
So true.
So what does this script suggest instead?
Oh, it emphasizes a more natural approach.
Okay.
More immersive.
Like how, so...
It's about surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible.
Got it.
Making it a part of your daily life.
I see.
Rather than just a subject you study.
So it's kind of like how you might pick up a new song just by hearing it on the radio a bunch of times.
Exactly.
You might not get all the lyrics at first.
Right.
But it starts to seep into your brain.
Precisely.
So this script calls this immersion.
Yes.
And it goes beyond just understanding every single word.
Right. It's more about getting comfortable with the sounds of the language.
Uh-huh.
The rhythm.
Yeah.
The patterns.
Training your ear.
Yes, exactly.
Now that's starting to sound a bit more fun than memorizing vocabulary lists.
I know, right?
But how do we actually put this immersion idea into practice?
Well, the script gives us some really practical strategies.
Like what?
Well, think about something simple, like changing your phone's language settings to English.
Okay.
Or watching your favorite movies with English subtitles.
And then what?
And then try watching them again without the subtitle.
I see.
To see how much you pick up.
So it's all about finding ways to make English a part of your daily routine.
Exactly.
And choosing activities you actually enjoy.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
It should feel like fun.
This script also talks about the importance of prioritizing listening and speaking over reading and writing.
Yeah, that might seem a bit counterintuitive at first.
It does.
But it actually makes a lot of sense if you think about how we naturally learn language.
How so?
Well, babies listen to the sounds around them long before they ever see a written word.
That's true.
They start by babbling and imitating, gradually building up their vocabulary and fluency through spoken interaction.
So it's like we're tapping into that innate ability we all have to learn through listening and speaking.
Exactly.
So what are some practical ways to improve our speaking skills?
Well, one technique the script recommends is called shadowing.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I have. But to be honest, it's always seemed a bit intimidating.
I know what you mean.
So how does it work?
It involves mimicking native speakers, trying to match the pronunciation, their intonation, their rhythm.
Sounds challenging.
It can be, but it's incredibly effective if you do it consistently.
Okay, so tell me more about this shadowing technique.
Think of it like training your muscles at the gym.
Okay.
At first, it might feel awkward and challenging.
Yeah.
But with practice, it becomes more natural and effortless.
Makes sense.
So are you ready to give shadowing a try?
I think so.
Awesome.
Now that we've covered immersion and the importance of listening and speaking.
Yes.
What about vocabulary?
Vocabulary, the bane of every language learner's existence.
I still remember those dreaded vocabulary lists from school.
Oh, yeah, those were the worst.
So how does this script approach vocabulary learning?
Well, it cautions against rote memorization.
You mean like just repeating words over and over again?
Exactly.
Yeah, that never really worked for me.
It's incredibly boring and ineffective.
Totally agree.
Instead, this script advocates for learning vocabulary in context.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means learning words and phrases within sentences, like capturing snapshots of language in action.
So instead of just memorizing the word passport, you'd learn the phrase, "Could I see your passport, please?"
Precisely.
That way you're learning how the word is actually used in a real-life situation.
Exactly. This approach helps you grasp the nuances of language.
Nuances.
Yeah, the subtle differences in meaning that can make or break your ability to communicate effectively.
So it's not just about knowing the word.
Right.
It's about understanding how to use it.
It's the difference between knowing the rules of a game versus actually playing it.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
So we've got immersion, we've got listening and speaking, we've got vocabulary and context.
What else?
Now, even with all these amazing techniques, we all know consistency is key.
Absolutely.
And this script really emphasizes setting small, achievable goals.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting
How so?
because it ties into research on habit formation.
Tell me more.
Small, consistent actions over time lead to significant results.
So it's like building a muscle. You wouldn't expect to bench press 200 pounds on your first day at the gym.
No way.
You'd probably hurt yourself.
So instead of overwhelming ourselves with unrealistic expectations,
We should focus on making small, incremental improvements each day.
exactly.
So instead of trying to learn 100 new words a week,
You could start with learning 5 new words each day.
that feels much more manageable.
Right.
And this script also highlights the importance of tracking your progress.
It's so motivating to see how far you've come,
Absolutely.
especially when you're feeling discouraged.
So true. But let's be honest, language learning can be tough.
No doubt.
And we all make mistakes along the way.
It's inevitable.
So how does this script address the issue of making mistakes?
What's fascinating is that the script flips the narrative on mistakes
In what way?
instead of viewing them as setbacks.
It encourages us to embrace them.
Yes, as opportunities for growth.
That's an interesting perspective.
But how do we actually shift our mindset from seeing mistakes as failures to seeing them as valuable learning experiences?
That's a great question.
Well, the script suggests a few strategies.
Okay, like what?
First, don't be afraid to ask for feedback when you make a mistake.
So instead of just feeling embarrassed and moving on,
We should actively seek out feedback from native speakers or language teachers.
got it.
Most people are more than happy to help.
And it shows that you're taking your language learning seriously.
And remember, even the most fluent English speakers were beginners once.
Oh, absolutely.
They struggled with pronunciation, they made grammatical errors, they probably had their fair share of awkward moments.
But they didn't let those mistakes define them.
Exactly. They use them as fuel to keep learning and growing.
That's really encouraging.
It is.
It makes me feel like it's okay to make mistakes as long as I'm learning from them.
Precisely.
But let's be real for a moment.
Okay.
There are times when I feel so frustrated with my progress that I just want to give up.
I've been there.
How do we stay motivated when those feelings creep in?
Well, I think it's crucial to remind ourselves why we started learning English in the first place.
Okay. What are our goals?
Yeah,
What do we hope to achieve by becoming fluent?
I see.
The script talks about the amazing rewards that come with mastering a new language.
Like being able to connect with people from different cultures.
Yes.
Or travel the world with confidence.
Exactly.
Or even advance our careers.
Those are powerful motivators.
They are.
And it's also important to remember that language learning is a journey, not a destination.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
It's not about reaching a specific destination, but rather about enjoying the process of learning and growing along the way.
Exactly. And there will be ups and downs,
Yeah,
moments of frustration,
for sure.
and moments of triumph.
So we just have to keep moving forward.
Even if it's just one small step at a time.
I like that.
One step at a time.
That feels manageable.
It does.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of embracing mistakes and staying motivated.
Yeah.
What else did this script highlight?
Well, it really stressed the significance of consistency.
Yes, and setting small, achievable goals.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about not overwhelming ourselves with unrealistic expectations.
Oh,
If we set small goals,
yeah.
we're more likely to experience success.
I see.
And that success fuels our desire to keep learning.
So instead of trying to do too much at once, we break down our goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly.
The script also mentions setting a goal like learning 5 new words each day.
Does that sound manageable to you?
Definitely.
It's much less daunting than trying to cram 50 new words into your brain in one sitting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I imagine it's also easier to make language learning a habit if you're doing it in small chunks consistently.
Absolutely. The script emphasizes the power of habit formation.
Okay.
Small, consistent actions over time lead to significant results.
Well, it's not about cramming or pulling all-nighters before a big test.
Not at all.
It's about making language learning a part of your daily life. The script also highlights the importance of tracking your progress.
Do you like to keep track of your progress?
I do.
It can be really motivating.
It is. It's like a visual reminder of all the effort you've put in.
And all the knowledge you've gained.
But speaking of feeling discouraged,
Uh-huh.
I think it's important to acknowledge that language learning can be a roller coaster ride.
It can.
Some days you feel like you're making incredible progress.
And other days you feel like you're back at square one.
Exactly.
It's normal to feel that way.
So how do we deal with those ups and downs?
Well, it's important to be kind to ourselves.
Okay.
To acknowledge that there will be good days and bad days.
Makes sense.
And that's okay.
As long as we keep showing up
Yes.
and keep practicing.
Exactly.
That's really inspiring.
Good.
It makes me feel like even when I'm struggling,
You're still moving in the right direction.
and we're not alone in this journey.
Absolutely not.
There's a whole community of language learners out there,
Who are going through the same ups and downs.
facing the same challenges.
And celebrating the same victories.
So we should connect with other learners,
Yeah.
share our experiences.
And support each other along the way.
The script really emphasized the importance of community.
It did.
So we've talked about embracing mistakes, staying motivated, setting small goals, and building a supportive community.
Those are some powerful takeaways.
Are there any other key takeaways from this script that we should highlight?
Yes. There's one more crucial point.
What's that?
The script reminds us that learning English is not just about acquiring a set of skills.
It's about something bigger.
It's about unlocking a world of possibilities.
You mean like being able to travel to new places,
Yes.
connect with people from different cultures,
Exactly.
experience the world in a whole new way,
It's about expanding your horizons.
broadening your perspective.
And ultimately enriching your life.
That's beautiful.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to encourage you to keep that vision in mind.
I-
Remember why you started learning English in the first place.
And let that passion fuel my journey.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm ready for the next step.
Awesome. You know, speaking of motivation, I think we should dig a little deeper into this whole idea of embracing mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's such a crucial part of the learning process.
It is.
What really stood out to you in the script about this?
Well, I think what really resonated with me was the idea that mistakes are not failures,
Right.
but rather stepping stones
Yeah.
on the path to fluency.
It's so easy to get discouraged when we stumble over words or make grammar mistakes, you know?
Totally.
But the script encourages us to reframe our thinking
Okay.
and see these mistakes as opportunities for growth.
Yeah, that's a powerful shift in perspective, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Instead of beating ourselves up over every mistake,
Yeah.
we can choose to view them as valuable feedback.
Right. Each mistake highlights an area where we can improve.
Yeah, that's a much more positive way to look at it.
I think.
Instead of saying, I messed up,
Yeah.
we can say, okay, I learned something new here.
Yeah.
How can I do better next time?
Exactly. And the script suggests a really practical way to turn mistakes into learning opportunities.
How's that?
Ask for feedback.
Oh, so instead of just feeling embarrassed and moving on.
We should actively seek out feedback
Sure.
from native speakers or language teachers.
Got it.
And, most people are more than happy to help.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And they appreciate the fact that you're genuinely trying to improve.
Yeah, it shows that you're serious about it.
Exactly.
I think sometimes we're afraid to ask for feedback because we don't want to seem incompetent or something.
Oh, I know that feeling.
But this script reminds us that everyone starts somewhere.
Even the most fluent English speakers were beginners once.
Yeah, that's true. They probably had their fair share of awkward moments, too.
Oh, absolutely. They struggled with pronunciation.
Yeah.
They made grammatical errors.
They probably had some funny stories to tell.
I bet they do, but they didn't let those mistakes define them.
They use them as fuel to keep learning and growing.
Exactly.
That's encouraging.
It is.
And it makes me feel like it's okay to make mistakes as long as I'm learning from them.
That's the key takeaway.
But okay, let's be real for a second.
Okay, what's up?
There are times when I feel so frustrated with my progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to give up.
I've been there.
How do we stay motivated when we're feeling like that?
Oh, I think it's crucial to remind ourselves why we started learning English in the first place.
Oh, okay.
What are our goals?
Yeah, what are we hoping to achieve?
The script talks about all the amazing rewards that come with mastering a new language.
Yeah, like what kinds of things?
Well, like being able to connect with people from different cultures, travel the world with confidence,
Okay.
or even advance our careers.
Those are some pretty powerful motivators.
They are, right?
And it's also important to remember that language learning is a journey, not a destination.
Ah, I love that analogy.
Me too.
It's not about reaching a specific destination, but rather about enjoying the process of learning and growing
I like that.
along the way.
So there will be ups and downs.
Oh, for sure.
Moments of frustration.
Yeah.
Moments of triumph.
And everything in between,
But we just have to keep moving forward,
even if it's just one small step at a time.
one step at a time.
Okay, so we've talked about embracing mistakes
Yes.
and staying motivated.
What else?
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another key takeaway from the script: consistency.
Consistency.
The script really stresses the importance of setting small, achievable goals.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
About not overwhelming ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay.
If we set small goals, we're more likely to experience success.
And that success helps to keep us motivated.
It's a positive feedback loop.
I like that.
So instead of trying to do too much too soon,
Right.
we break down our goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The script even suggests setting a goal, like learning 5 new words each day.
5 new words a day.
Does that sound doable?
Yeah, that's way less intimidating than trying to learn 50 new words in one go.
Right. And it's easier to make language learning a habit when you're doing it consistently in small chunks.
That's a good point.
The script really highlights the power of habit formation.
Small, consistent actions over time
Exactly.
lead to big results.
It's like that old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day.
I've heard that one.
And fluency won't happen overnight either.
So no cramming, no all-nighters,
No way. It's about making language learning a part of your daily routine.
like brushing your teeth.
Exactly.
Super, yeah.
And the script also emphasizes the importance of tracking your progress.
I love tracking my progress.
It can be really motivating to see how far you've come.
It is, especially when you're feeling discouraged.
Yeah, those days happen.
So true.
But it's important to remember that those feelings are temporary.
They are.
They don't define your journey.
So don't let them derail you.
Exactly. Keep moving forward,
Okay.
one step at a time.
We can do this.
I believe in us.
Now that we've talked about embracing mistakes,
Uh-huh.
staying motivated,
Yes.
setting small goals,
What else?
I think it's also important to remember that we're not alone in this journey.
Absolutely not. There's a whole community of language learners out there,
Going through the same ups and downs,
facing the same challenges.
celebrating the same victories.
So don't be afraid to connect with other learners.
Share your experience.
Help support.
The script really highlighted the importance of having that community.
It did. It's so important to feel connected.
So we've got embracing mistakes, staying motivated, setting small goals, and building a supportive community.
Those are some powerful pillars for language learning success.
Are there any other key takeaways from the script that we should highlight before we wrap up this deep dive?
Yes. There's one more that I think is really important.
What is it?
The script reminds us that learning English is not just about acquiring a set of skills.
It's about something bigger.
It's about unlocking a world of possibilities.
Oh, wow.
Think about it.
Okay, I'm thinking.
What could you do if you were fluent in English?
I could travel to new places.
Yes.
And connect with people from different cultures.
Absolutely.
Experience the world in a whole new way.
It's about expanding your horizons
Broadening my perspective.
and enriching your life.
That's beautiful.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to encourage you to keep that vision in mind.
That vision of a world of possibilities.
Exactly. Remember why you started learning English in the first place.
Okay.
And let that passion fuel your journey.
It's powerful stuff.
It is.
Okay, so now that we've talked about all of that,
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on to something a bit more specific.
Great. What do you have in mind?
I want to talk about shadowing.
Shadowing, one of my favorite techniques.
Mine too.
Have you tried it?
I have, and I love it.
It's like having a conversation with a native speaker.
Even if you're just talking to yourself.
Exactly. It's a brilliant technique.
It is, but for those who aren't familiar with it, how does it work?
Well, it involves listening to a recording of a native speaker,
Okay.
usually a short audio clip or a video,
Yeah.
and then you repeat what they say,
Okay, as closely as possible.
trying to match their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm.
It's almost like you're their shadow.
Exactly, echoing their every word.
And the best part is you can do it anywhere.
Anytime you can shadow while you're commuting,
Cooking dinner?
taking a walk.
So versatile.
But it's not just about mimicking sounds, is it?
No, it's more than that.
There's a deeper level of engagement.
You're actively engaging with the language.
Training your brain to process and reproduce those sounds.
It's like a workout for your tongue and your brain.
I love that analogy.
And the more you practice, the more natural your pronunciation becomes.
The script actually suggests different levels of shadowing.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, for beginners, it might be helpful to start with word-level shadowing,
Okay.
focusing on individual words and sounds.
So you might choose a short audio clip
Right.
and just repeat each word after the speaker.
Exactly, paying close attention to how they pronounce each syllable.
Okay. And then once you're comfortable with that,
You can move on to phrase-level shadowing.
repeating groups of words.
And eventually you can progress to full sentence shadowing.
Wow, it's pretty advanced.
It is, but it's incredibly effective for improving your
And
pronunciation
the fluency.
and your overall confidence.
I can definitely see how that would be helpful.
It's a fantastic technique.
One of many that this script offers.
Speaking of which, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about embracing mistakes,
Yes.
staying motivated,
Setting small goals.
building a supportive community.
In outshadowing.
It's been a really insightful deep dive.
It has.
But before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to touch on one more important aspect that the script highlights.
Okay, what's that?
The importance of having fun.
Yes, learning a new language shouldn't feel like a chore.
Exactly. It should be an enjoyable experience.
So how do we make it fun?
Well, the script encourages us to find ways to make language learning engaging.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, it could be anything you enjoy, really.
Or
Watching movies,
listening to music,
reading books.
playing games.
The possibilities are endless.
As long as it keeps you engaged with the language,
Exactly, because when we're having fun,
we're more likely to stick with it.
and that's when the real magic happens.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
Find what brings you joy in the world of English.
Whether it's reading a captivating novel
Singing along to your favorite songs.
or simply chatting with new friends,
And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles.
begins with a single step
What small step can you take today?
to make English a more enjoyable part of your life.
That's a great question.
Yeah,
That is a great question. It's like we've got this whole treasure chest of resources now.
I know, right?
So many great techniques and strategies.
But I think what really makes this script stand out is the emphasis on mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah, it's not just about learning the rules of English.
It's about having the right attitude.
Exactly, believing that you can actually become fluent
And embracing the journey.
with all the ups and downs.
And the script doesn't sugarcoat it either.
No, it doesn't shy away from the fact that there will be challenges.
There will be times when you feel stuck,
Frustrated.
maybe even tempted to give up.
And that's where having a supportive community can make all the difference.
It's like having a cheering section
Yeah, people who understand what you're going through.
who encourage you to keep going.
Even when it feels tough.
And the script reminds us that there are so many resources available to help us.
Language exchange partners,
Online forums.
language learning apps,
It's like having a whole team of coaches in your pocket.
ready to offer guidance and encouragement.
But for me, the most important takeaway is that learning English should be enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
It should be fun.
The script really encourages us to find activities that we enjoy,
Things that make us excited about learning English.
like watching movies,
Listening to podcasts,
reading books.
playing games.
There are so many ways to make it fun,
And when you're enjoying the process, you're more likely to stick with it.
and that's when you really start to see progress.
Speaking of progress, the script also had some interesting things to say about setting goals.
It goes beyond just setting SMART goals.
It digs deeper into the psychology of habit formation,
Small, consistent actions over time.
lead to big results.
It's something we often forget.
We want those quick fixes.
Instant gratification.
But this script reminds us to be patient.
And to break down those big, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps,
Like learning 5 new words a day.
instead of 100 new words a week.
Such a simple shift in perspective.
But it can make a world of difference.
And we need to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Every new word, every conversation, every milestone.
It's fuel for the journey.
And speaking of the journey,
There will be bumps in the road.
there will be times when you feel discouraged,
When you feel like you're not making progress.
when you make mistakes.
And you just want to give up.
But this script reminds us that it's okay to feel those things.
It's all part of the process.
Those feelings are temporary.
They're not the end of the story.
And the script gives us some strategies for dealing with those moments of doubt.
Like what?
Well, remember why you started learning English.
Okay.
Focus on your progress, not your setbacks.
And reach out to your support network. Those are great reminders.
They are.
It's easy to get caught up in the negative self-talk.
But we need to shift our focus to the positive
Celebrate our wins.
and keep moving forward.
So this deep dive has been packed with valuable insights and practical tips.
It really has.
But ultimately, it's up to each individual to take this knowledge.
And apply it to their own language learning journey.
So to our listeners,
Find what works for you.
embrace the challenges.
Celebrate the victories.
And most importantly,
Enjoy the journey.
happy learning, everyone.